The first punk venue I ever went to was the Rat, the classic Boston punk club, and I started going there. First show I went to there was with a really bad bar band called the Stompers, so I don't count that show as my first punk show. The first punk show I actually saw was in January of '79 with the Plasmatics, and they played with a band called the Malls, which included one of the guys who was later in Mission of Burma. And so yeah, that was the first venue I really went to. I saw the Clash play at the Harvard Square Theater. They did shows occasionally. Got to see them play there with Bo Diddley opening. And some of the other venues I went to were the Paradise. It was like a bigger rock club that held like about 650 people. And the first show I saw there was with 999 and Unnatural Acts, were one of my favorite local bands. And I remember Richie Parsons, their singer and guitar player. They had tables that were bolted down there. I remember Richie like kind of dancing across the tables while he was still playing his guitar. Saw X there the first time they came through in 1980, and they gave out copies of their Los Angeles record to the first 50 people through the door. Some of the other venues I went to Cantones a couple of times. That was one of the early Boston punk clubs. Saw a memorable show there with DOA that got shut down after 2 songs as people were tearing down the ceiling panels. And there was also a club called Streets that I started going to in the fall of 1981. I saw TSOL there. I saw Black Flag there. And that was a little bit, that was near the corner of Brookline Ave. Excuse me, that was near the corner of Harvard Avenue and Commonwealth Avenue. It was about a block up from that intersection there. And that wasn't open very long. It eventually became a disco called Club Soda. That was definitely a sad day. There was also another venue called the Underground, which unfortunately I never got to, and I wish I had, because the Jam played there, because the Cure played their first Boston show there. Definitely missed the boat on that one. A little later on, there was the club in Cambridge. They actually started in the mid-'70s. I made it to a few shows there. There was also the Channel, which was a huge club down by the Fort Point Channel near South Station, and the place held about 2,000 people. It was allegedly mafia run, and started going to shows there in like 80 or 81. Saw Killing Joke there, saw the Jam there, which was incredibly hot, and nearly passed out, no joke. Nearly felt like I was going to pass out at that show because it was just so hot in there. That place was open until around the early 90s, and saw tons of great shows there over the years. Everyone from 7 Seconds to Ministry to Suicidal Tendencies, the Black Flag to Minor Threat. And of course there were the DIY venues. There was the Media Workshop, which I never made it to, but there was also Gallery East, which did shows for around a year, and I made it to 3 shows there. I got into the Boston DIY thing a little bit late. It had already kind of started up in mid to late '81, but I didn't really start going to shows at those spaces until like middle of 1982.